Welcome to another informative episode of ButchCrafting with your favorite homo. Grab your tool belt, strap it on, and settle in. We're going to learn some shit together. Here you go. Hey everyone, this is the Dinosaur, and this is our very first episode of ButchCraft. If you are not familiar with what ButchCraft is, it's something that I kind of made up, a play on words, if you will. I'm a prepper, so there's a term called bushcraft, which is where you actually make, it has to do with survival skills out in nature. You cut down trees, you make your own shelter, you build your own fire, all that good stuff. But because I'm a lesbian and I'm a soft butch, I thought it would be funny to say and to call it butchcraft. It's kind of like bushcraft, but it's much gayer. And it encompasses a lot more than just bushwhacking. But we all know that I'm down for that too. So if there's anything that you want me to cover during these episodes, then let me know, reach out. You can always email me. Just go to TheDinosaur&TheDude.com and you can send us an email that way. But the thing that I wanted to talk about today is what types of things do you need and what information do you know, or information do you need to know, rather, if the shit were to hit the fan? And what is the shit hit the fan? That could be, there's different levels, right? I mean, there's, say that you have an ice storm and you don't have power for a week. That's kind of an emergency, if you're not prepared, you might run out of food, you might run out of water. Or it could be, trying to batten down for a hurricane, or it could be, like COVID, where everybody was freaking out and buying all the toilet paper and, making sure that you have the items that you need in order to take care of yourself if you can't get to the grocery store or to a supply store for any amount of time. Because I doubt very seriously that Amazon is going to be foraging through in an ice storm or a hurricane, when we're having an issue, we're having a problem, we can't rely on those things that we usually just automatically rely on. I mean, I love Amazon much more than I probably should. And so for me, I get 2-day delivery and I order it and I expect it that day, the next day, or the next day. And usually it comes in very fast. But in a situation where, we've got, say, if truckers were to go on strike or a railroad were to go on strike, any way of transportation that we get our supplies and our consumables, we could be affected. And we certainly don't want anybody to suffer through that time. I mean, obviously, people are going to suffer. But there's a way for us to try to mitigate some of that if we're prepared. There's things that, you can have in your home. You need to make for sure that you've got your food, your water. You make sure that your shelter that you have a shelter and that it's protecting you from the elements. If you live in a really cold place, you might want to make sure that you've got a lot of blankets and maybe a propane heater or something to help you. If the electricity is out, if you I live in Texas and it gets really hot here. And during the pandemic, we actually, my wife's neighbor across the street, they found him in his house and he had passed away. And it was so hot that he couldn't, there was no electricity and he couldn't function through it. And so things like that, I mean, I realize that it's going to happen, but maybe if he were a bit more prepared, then maybe the risk of him being hurt or dying would have been lesser than what it was. So I want to talk today about getting ready as far as your food goes, what you can do for, what items are simple to get. I don't expect anybody to go out or to be able to even go out and spend thousands of dollars on food or, water or whatnot. But whenever you go to the grocery store, if you can purchase just a few items extra and put it back, then you're setting yourself up for success. And really, that's all that prepping is just setting yourself up to be able to survive and sustain yourself in a time of crisis, emergency, what have you. It's always great to have a plan, but sometimes shit happens and you don't have the opportunity to have a plan and implement it. And you can't prep for everything. I realize that. But you can make for sure that you've got a little bit of food stashed away. Make sure that you've either got a water source near you, whether it be a well or, something, a lake, a river, whatever, and a way to filter that or stock up on water itself. So I found on the internet, I found a really good website for preparing for disasters and emergencies. It is ready.gov. And this kind of just teaches you how to make a plan, to make sure that you're ready with your kids, your businesses, and your communities. Because during a time of crisis, there could be a lot of bad people trying to take advantage of the situation. But there's also going to be a lot more good people that are willing to come together and work for a greater good. Let's start with food. So for food, there are certain foods that are going to be easy to manage and also to stock up on. And like, for instance, if you go to the grocery store, get a couple of cans of meat. Like they've got canned chicken and canned beef and canned ham. Those are good proteins. Also, peanut butter is a really good protein. And whenever you're sustaining yourself, you need protein. You can also get some beans. Get a big ass bag of beans. And if you got a way to heat up water, whether it's over a fire or if your stove is still working, fuck, just eat beans. Hell, if you got to, then do it. Also, quinoa is a really good protein. They call that the complete protein because it offers all of the necessary protein that you need. And it's pretty easy to prepare. And I would suggest if you're not familiar with it, just try it. And then also try to make it at home. If you've never cooked beans before at your house, try it. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to fuck up a $2 or $3 bag of beans. Okay, well, whatever. But once you do it enough, it's going to come really easy to you. You're going to know what to do. You're not going to have to follow a recipe. You're just going to be able to do it. You can also get any canned vegetables or fruit, or even dried vegetables or fruit. I know that freeze drying is really popular now, and I wouldn't say go out and get a freeze dryer. Unless you're like super into prepping, but you can buy freeze dried fruit. You can also, take a shot at drying your own fruit. What's it going to hurt? It's just a science experiment. Just try it out. If it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, you tried. Also, things like ready to eat cereal or crackers or chips or, granola bars, protein bars. Those are good. Now, for me personally, I don't like to eat a lot of carbs, so I would stay away from the chips, but there are healthy options. You can get veggie sticks, which are like kind of these dried vegetable, like fry looking things. You can also do, what else could you do? You could do, for like to drink. If you have children in your house and they're used to having milk and you can't get access to milk, have some canned, or dried milk, there. They sell them in the little tubs like Carnation instant milk or something. You just add water to it. You're good to go. I make my own almond milk from scratch. So I have a stockpile of almonds that I use. I can snack on those for protein, or I can make almond milk with them. But you can also get like things that you don't have to refrigerate, like juices, broths, shelf-stable milk, soups. And then for like snacky type things, like I said, you could do protein bars or fruit bars. You can do hard candy, which, I would stay away from that, but because it's just empty calories. And whenever you're in a crisis situation and food is limited, you need to make for sure that what you're putting in your mouth is going to be able to sustain you. So you want to have eat as healthy as you can, because the better that you take care of your body, the better it's going to take care of you. But like jerky, turkey jerky, chicken jerky, beef jerky. You can also get fruit leathers, which it's like a fruit puree that they kind of they put it out on a flat surface and dehydrate it. So it's it's almost like a fruit roll up kind of consistency. But, that's another way to be able to preserve, fruits. And I guess, I don't know if you can do it with vegetables or not, but, I don't know. I should try that. Trail mixes are also really good. And those are things that you can put in a bag, and if you need to leave, then you can take it with you. It's not going to be as heavy as like a can of green beans or, whatever. So, and then you also have to take into consideration any special dietary needs that your family might have. Like some people are gluten-free, so you need to make sure that you have options for that. At some point, and I think the dude and I have discussed this in the past, sometimes you might not have a choice on what you eat. If you're gluten-free or if you're vegan, okay, let's say, I totally respect that. But if it comes down to you eating a can of chicken versus literally starving to death, that's a choice that you're going to have to make. But chances are you're going to eat the chicken. And, I know that might be gross to some people, and it might be hard to wrap your head around that you would do that. But people change whenever they are starving, whenever they're thirsty. When our basic needs are having to be met and we have very limited resources, people tend to sacrifice on what their beliefs are and what they would consider eating. If I was out in the forest and I had nothing and I had to eat something and I saw a squirrel, yeah, probably if I can catch and cook the squirrel, I'm going to fucking eat it. Would I normally eat squirrel? No. But would I normally eat worms? No, but I fucking would if I had to. Girl likes to eat, okay? But, and it's not like I can just go searching around for a fucking cheeseburger, because it's not going to pop out of nowhere. You also need to think about the littles, the children. If you've got babies or infants in your family, you need to make sure that you've got a stockpile of formula or whatever the hell they eat. My kid is 19 now, so things have changed, but I know that formula is still out there, baby food, stuff like that. And you can get that. Those are in jars. And that works. I mean, fuck, if you had to, you could eat baby food in jars. You want to get your green beans and you're all out of cans? Fuck, go get the baby green beans, whatever. I mean, obviously, make sure that your kid's fed, but same thing goes for pets. I wouldn't suggest eating dog food, but guess what? If I was starving and that's the only thing that was in front of me, you better fucking believe I'm putting that in my mouth. I'm going to chomp down on it because it'll fill my stomach. Might be sick. Might hurt. Probably not the best idea. But if it's the only thing that I had, fuck yeah, I'm going to eat it. I'll eat the shit out of that. But for your pets, make for sure that you can sustain their lives too, because they depend on you. And you want to sustain them because they could offer, comfort to you, and they can also offer protection. I mean, I don't know how much a gerbil is going to offer protection, but, if you have a dog, they're going to hopefully alert you if there's somebody outside your house snooping around. So we want to make sure that we take care of them too. And then I guess one of the more important things is water. They say to have 3 gallons of water per person per day. And have at least a 3-day supply. Now, if you've got access to a well, that's awesome. Use that. But do keep in mind that wells can run dry. And if everybody is pulling from a well because they can't get their water from anywhere else, I don't know how deep the well is or how big it is down there, but that's what she said. Sorry. You may want to have some backup water. I have a Berkey, which is a water filtration system. I can put that water in there and it will purify it for me so that I can drink it. I also have life straws with me. They're in my car. They're in my bug out bag. It's just a device. It's a straw pretty much. And it's got a filter built into it. So you could actually go to a mucky lake water area and just suck that up and it'll filter it and you're good to go. So, there are ways that you can set yourself up for success there. If you do not have something and the only thing you have is murky lake water and you're dying of thirst and you drink it, you could very easily get sick. And the last thing you want to be doing is shitting your brains out when you're trying to survive through an ordeal. I'm sure that's not fun. I haven't ever done that, but I can't imagine that would be something that you'd look forward to. So another area that you have to be mindful of and prepare for is medical stuff. So if you are on maintenance medications, which there are a ton of people, especially in America, that just shove pills down our throat to try to fix ourselves of whatever ailments, and high blood pressure, whatever. I mean, and hey, to each their own. However you want to care for yourself, I get it, that's fine. But if your body is dependent on insulin, if your body is dependent on high blood pressure medicine, you might not want to just stop it cold turkey. And a lot of people don't have more than, let's say, a 60 or 90-day supply of medicine. Well, what happens if there's an emergency and the pharmacy is no longer around? What are you going to do? I mean, do you have a 90-day supply? Can you talk to your doctor about maybe getting a 90-day prescription? Just a lot of this is common sense, but you just have to think about it ahead of time. There are places where you can order medicine, whatever type of medicine you have, or that you need rather, and, get a 6-month supply. That's something that we've looked into. And I feel comfortable enough, that we would be okay, at least for probably about 6 months. And then, or you can do holistic medicine with herbs and, and whatnot. I have a lot of herbs and I love to work with herbs. It's crazy and amazing. It's cramazing how plants can heal us. And I really do feel that for every ailment that we have in our bodies that happens to us, there is a holistic healing for that. Meaning, like, there's a plant out there somewhere that will help us, whether it be oregano for, antibiotic, antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungus. Oregano is just it's an amazing herb. Or, if there's tons of herbs, just look into it. Just look up the basics of herbal medicine. And if you're interested in that, there's so much that you can learn. I mean, I know a lot, but I still need, guidance. I've got a lot of literature. Speaking of literature, if the shit were to hit the fan, or our internet was knocked out, or, whatever, and you don't have access to the internet, do you have the literature that you need in order to be able to survive? Do you have a how-to book on how to make a shelter, or how to collect rainwater? There are books that you can buy even at thrift stores. So check thrift stores. You can go, there's a website called thriftbooks.com. You can get used books there. Amazon has used books. So you don't have to buy everything new. You can get them at a cheaper rate. But I would say definitely have a book on basic survival skills, basic medical care, protection. Let's talk about protection for a minute. Depending on where you are in the world, the type of protection that you're able to have may differ. Like in America, as you know, guns are prevalent. I don't know if I can say that. Pew-pews are prevalent. And they're everywhere, which is bananas. But in Texas, which is where I'm at, God, people here, they love their weapons. Jesus. I mean, over the top, like a lot, just a lot. There's a lot. But whether it's a bow and arrow, whether it's, a rifle or a Glock or fucking a hatchet, I don't care. If you have to protect yourself with a fucking butter knife, then do it. I mean, I don't mean like go out and just start harming people. I'm saying if your life is in danger, somebody's coming at you and it's either you or them and you want to survive, you're going to have to take matters into your own hands. And yeah, it's probably going to fuck you up, at least for a good bit. But, if you got to fight sometimes if you want to. I mean, if you want to live, or you need to fight, I should say, if you want to live. Now, that doesn't mean, again, somebody's coming up to your house and you feel like you're threatened, so you just go start bludgeoning them. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being able to protect yourself in a situation where you might have to. You can do your own research on that and know what you're comfortable with. Like, for instance, everybody's different, right? And for me, personally, I can't handle a firearm. I have PTSD and I have anxiety. And if I were to shoot a firearm, I would just shut down. And that's not, I know that about me. And that might be weak, but probably I would say what's weaker is knowing that and still having a firearm, thinking that I'm going to be able to suck it up and use it whenever I need to. I won't be able to. I know what my limitations are. I think that I would feel terrible if I had to unalive someone. I don't know that I would be able to deal with that, to cope with it. I think it would really mess me up. So I chose a less lethal option so that I could deter them. Now, my wife, on the other hand, if she absolutely had to, she would shoot someone. That's last and worst case scenario. She will protect herself and she will protect her family, which, obviously is understandable. So in our situation, and yes, we've talked about it, my job is to deter. So my job is to slow people down if they're trying to come into the house, and her job is to rectify if she needs to. And hopefully that never happens. Speaking of hopefully that never happens, all of this preparation, for like at your home is great. But what happens if you have to leave your home? Say, for instance, there's a hurricane that's coming. Do you have a bag ready that you can take with you on the fly? Now, we do have, we call them bug out bags. We have bug out bags, and there's everything in there from medical supplies to a Go Girl, which is a female urination device. If you're a woman and you've never tried peeing standing up, it's not fucking easy. So to have a device that acts as a funnel, so that you can pee standing up on the go, it's pretty powerful. You don't have to squat. You don't have to worry about bugs or, ants or wasps or snakes or whatever. You just stand up, put the thing in between your legs. It's like a funnel and you just pee. I've had one for years. I love it. And I've used it in camping. I've used it at like pasture parties. I've used it even in parking lots at a concert, whenever I didn't want to go and sit in the line and I knew that I'd be at the car in just a second and it's going to take a while to get to, for the traffic to die down to get out of the concert parking lot. So I just used it in the parking lot. I mean, fuck it, whatever. If you are interested in getting a female urination device, you're in luck because we have a partnership with Go Girl. And you can go to go-girl.com and enter the code DDGoGirl25, and you can get 25% off of your entire purchase. That's the lowest price that they offer anywhere. So you can go and get that, and you can pee standing up, which is fucking great. So just keep it in your go bag and you're good to go. So try it. Pee standing up. It's neat. It's discreet. You don't have to take life sitting down. You can go get a Go Girl with the special 25% discount at go-girl.com. But we have medicines. We've got first aid stuff. We've got food. We've got those life straws for water purification. We've got a water bottle in there. We've got flashlights. We've got a solar charger for either our devices, or if they're working, or to recharge like lanterns that will charge via a USB. I mean, you can go very simple, or you could really go at it, like, and really get into detail about what you are trying to bring with you. I mean, we even have, okay, so this may sound weird, and I don't mean it to sound weird, but we even have condoms. I know, lesbian couple, why would we need condoms, right? Well, if you get the condoms that are the latex condoms, if you're not allergic, that are, they don't have any spermicide or any lubricant or anything on it. It's just latex. You could use those to put water in them, use them as water bladders, but they're tiny. They're small. They're not there, and they don't weigh that much. So that's better than carrying around empty gallons or gallons of water. If you can find a water source, you take a package of the condoms, you fill them up with water, and then you've got water to carry with you so that you can have it, because you have to have water. You can go quite a bit without something to eat, but I think they say 3 days is about what you can go without water. I'd have to check that, but I believe that that's correct. So there are places where you can go online to figure out what you could possibly put in a bug out bag. We also have a bag that goes in our car. So a bug out bag would be like if you're leaving your home, your domicile, and you're fleeing. Okay. Then we have the car bag. So it's a car bag, or it's a get home bag is what we call it. And it would have stuff in it like food, first aid, flares, pepper spray, stuff like that, so that we could have a better chance at getting home should something happen. Gosh, I mean, there's so much that you want to be prepared for, and all of this is really important. However, there's another area that is also extremely important, and that is mental health. Sometimes people don't perform well in emergency situations, and unfortunately, you're not going to really know how you react in an emergency situation or a disaster until you actually live through it. For me, I usually just transfer into like go mode. I just function. I just do what I need to do in order to get it done so that I can move on to the next thing. And I'll break down later and I'll cry and I'll process and all that stuff. But in the moment, I'm very methodical. I'm ADD, so my brain thinks about these things and I can think about situations really quickly. So let's say that a tornado is coming in Texas, because tornadoes love Texas. And we have to leave. What am I going to do? I'm going to make sure that I grab my animals. I grab my go bag. Or my bug out bag. I grab their bug out bag, because yes, they have one too. They have special medical supplies. They've got their medicines. They've got dog food. They've got a little first aid kit for, typical doggy stuff. Like, just look it up. They've got harnesses, their harness, their leashes, stuff like that. Also, something to put in your go bag for your pet is those little shoe things that go over their feet. So in Texas, it gets super hot and the concrete gets really hot in the summer. And if I'm having to leave and run and I'm making my dog run on the concrete, you can literally like make them bleed. It will just burn them. It will literally burn their paws. Same thing with cold. I mean, they can get frostbite really easily, and people don't think about, well, what am I going to put on my dog's feet? So, I mean, you can either try to grab something and wrap them in tape or, whatever. But if you have in the go bag little doggy shoes, I guess, or socks or whatever they're called, then it'll help protect them, and they would be less likely to have a burn or to get frostbite. You have to take into consideration your atmosphere and what that climate is. Obviously, you're not going to be able to prep for everything, like I said, but you can set yourself up for success. And since our animals are like our family most of the time, I know mine are, then we want to make for sure that they're taken care of too. I think that's about it. I don't know. I'm sure that I'm missing something, and this is my first ButchCraft episode, like I said, so I'm sure that it's not perfect, but I'm hoping to get better at this. I'm not as confident in recording by myself as Dude is. I mean, he's really good at it. I think that with me, it's just going to take a little bit of time. So I appreciate y'all struggling through this with me. If y'all have any comments or, questions, then please let me know, reach out, and just let me know. I mean, if you're going to tell me that I'm a piece of shit and that I'm stupid, then don't waste your time, because that's going to bounce off of me. But if you've got something, constructive to say or supportive or, whatnot, I'm all about positive vibes and positive energy and lifting each other up. So I would love to help you, help me, and me help you, help me help you. I don't know. I just want to be a positive light in this world. So I appreciate you sticking it out with me, and hopefully we'll be able to do these regularly, and we'll be covering a bunch of different stuff, whether it's having to do with I drywalled the other day for the first time, and I took videos of it, but I just don't know how well they turned out. I got to look at that. But, it could be anything from drywall to how to set up a rain barrel to catch rainwater. It could be fucking, I don't know, what tools to carry in your car, what, anything that has to do, like, it's a joke in the community, lesbian community, that butches are like, they've all got their shit together and they've got their little camo backpack and their tool belt and whatnot. And to some degree, I mean, that could be true, but that could be true for anybody. I just want people to know how to do basic things. Even stuff that I don't know how to do, I want to try to figure that out and then share my experience. Because I think it could be helpful. So anyway, y'all enjoy. I hope that you did enjoy. And I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you later.